Good evening and welcome back to Capitol Tonight, a statewide look at politics. I'm Tim Boehm. It's snowy and quiet in North Carolina, not so much in our nation's capital. We got a little snow, but the news keeps coming, from the Loretta Lynch vote to the upcoming speech by Congress, at Congress by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and the potential shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Not a shortage of topics. Joining us tonight from our Washington, D.C. newsroom, Republican Representative Robert Pittenger from North Carolina's 9th District. Good to see you, sir, as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Tim. Good to be with you.
All right, let's start with the potential shutdown, I guess, of Department of Homeland Security, needing funding passed by Congress tomorrow. It appears a clean bill funding DHS will head over at some point to the House with no immigration provisions. Is that a bill that you would vote for or not?
Tim, you know, January 14th, we passed the most comprehensive bill for border security, more operational forces for customs and security control, took care of human trafficking, exploitation of children, cyber war. It was a very important bill. We've waited now 43 days for the Senate to come back to us. The Democrats have regrettably held up votes. You know, they require 60 votes over in the Senate to move forward. Senator Reid and Mitch McConnell have to agree every day on what the agenda is going to be for the following day. It's a very archaic system. But nonetheless, we did what was consistent, well, frankly, with the other departments of government. The federal judge struck down the amnesty provision by President Obama. That was certainly, he saw that as unconstitutional. The Congress has already weighed in, and President Obama himself said that this legislation, 20 times he made reference that he could not support amnesty and dictate that. So all three branches of government have weighed in on this. We'll wait and see what the bill comes. I can't really speculate on what the final product will be, but we need a bill that enforces the rule of law. This is about the balance of power. This is about our Constitution. That's really what's at stake right here. A federal judge has weighed in. Our president, who is a constitutional lawyer, already made his statement of it. The Congress has weighed in. This is what we're talking about, and we need to address this as a balance of power issue.
But can you tell us now, I mean, if it is a clean bill, I know we can't speculate on it may or not, but if it is a clean bill, is there any way you would support a 100% clean funding bill?
Well, I don't look at hypotheticals. I really don't. I think I want to see what really comes out. A lot of speculation in the Senate. And of course, when it comes over, in whatever form, we want to make sure that it's a bill that protects the American people, that does not perpetuate amnesty, that abides by the rule of law. That's really what's essential in this legislation. And it supports the balance of power of the United States Congress.
All right, let's move on. Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General nominee, her nomination got through a Senate Judiciary Committee today. Tom Tillis did not vote for that approval. It likely, as early as next week, could get to the full Senate. There are some Republicans seem to back off. She's a North Carolina native. Mr. Pittenger, what's your take on this nomination vote in the Senate?
Well, I haven't been there to get all of the specifics of the nomination. I think being a person from our home is certainly a wonderful thing, but it's more important to me what that person believes and what their policies are and what they will hold in that very important job as Attorney General. So they are the keeper of the law of justice and the primary lawgiver in this country. So we need to make sure we have the right person there. So I respect Tom Tillis, whatever decision he made.
All right, I know this is an issue near and dear to your heart. You were in Israel last week, I believe. Benjamin Netanyahu is supposed to speak to Congress next week. There's a lot of uproar. In fact, even yesterday there was as well. Some Democrats saying that House Speaker John Boehner bypassed the White House. This speech could undermine nuclear negotiations with Iran, and it's too close to the Israeli elections for him to be speaking to Congress. What's your take on that?
All nonsense. Purely distractions from the reality that Iran is an existential threat to the United States of America. Iran, frankly, is not only a threat to Israel, but a threat to us. Iran with ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads, is a major threat to us. Israel sees that. I've been in Israel 4 times. I've met with the Prime Minister 3 times in the last 18 months. I urged him to lay out and clearly to the American people the threat that he sees from Iran holding nuclear weapons. Any capacity that they have to enrich uranium, to have the amount of centrifuges that they're demanding, about 6,000 now, certainly doesn't qualify for civilian use. Far beyond that. These are for military use and purposes. You have to question that. Our military leaders, our friends and allies in the Middle East, they question it. I've spoken to the Emir in Qatar. I've spoken to the Crown Prince in United Arab Emirates. I've spoken to President Sisi in Egypt. They all question the direction that the president is heading now with this feckless continuation of this feckless foreign policy that he supports. He's been soft on terrorism. He hasn't stood strong. And in essence of that vacuum, our adversaries have taken a position. We are right now emboldening Iran. Frankly, we've supported their economy. They've been given $8 billion of economic aid initially. Now we're releasing over $5 billion in assets that were frozen, supporting their economy, being willing to lift sanctions. We should be putting more sanctions on Iran today. We should be weakening that economy. We should be causing them to turn within. We are empowering Iran at this present time. And Iran is a major threat to the United States of America, not just Israel.
So you're not in support of these negotiations with the March 31st deadline that is approaching?
Not whatsoever. I think any deal is a bad deal. Anytime you're going to position them to be able to enrich uranium, and in a matter of months, they could be able to produce a nuclear weapon. So I think it's incumbent upon the United States to follow prudent policy to require the elimination and destruction of their capacity to be able to deliver these systems and these weapons. They shouldn't have the enrichment capabilities. This is going to cause nuclear proliferation throughout the Middle East. The Saudis, the Turks, other countries, even Egypt, has said that they are going to pursue with nuclear weapons. What would keep us from stopping any country if we're not willing to stop Iran? Iran has been the sponsor of terrorism throughout the Middle East for the last 30 years. You can see their footprint in Iraq. You see it in Syria. You see it in Lebanon. You see it now in Yemen. You even see it over in Turkey. So I really question the thinking that Iran is going to keep any agreement that they would sign. They have never done so in the past. And to be in any way have confidence that they will keep this agreement is beyond reason.
All right, well, that will be a big story through the following days and into next week. Meanwhile, big issues this week as well. Thank you so much for a little bit of your time today. I appreciate it. Good to see you, sir.